Hey, what's going on, everybody? Justin here, and in this video, we're going to be doing my, July book haul. I have to do my July, August, September book hauls. So those will all be coming in the next, probably 2 weeks, hopefully. I really need to get caught up on my, stock videos, or staple videos, or whatever. The wrap-ups and book hauls, they're just so far behind, and I just need to get them done. But yeah, in the thumbnail, it looks like I have a bunch of giant books, and I do, but I didn't spend that much because this was mostly from a library sale. And actually, I think 8 of the books, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, 8 of the books are from the same author. I had never tried him before. I have since read one of them, and I'll probably talk about. Well, I might as well just tell you. It's David Eddings. Apparently he's like maybe not vintage, probably isn't the right word, but I think he wrote like fantasy kind of in the 80s and 90s and 2000s. However, I listened to the first book of the very first series because the first series was not like one of the books that I got in out of these 8. I think I got literally 8 of 16 of his books, but the first 5 books he wrote are like one big series. And I'm not gonna lie, Pawn of Prophecy, the first book in the Beleriad, I think it's called, was like the most milquetoast fantasy like I've ever read. So I'm really hoping to maybe I might kind of skip that series and just start some of the other ones, just so I feel like I'm getting something out of getting these books. I think even though they were like $1 a piece, it wasn't like a big deal. I just thought, I can't pass up that much, good looking fantasy, I guess. Just when it's on sale at a library sale. So yeah, let's just get started. I got 8 of those David Eddings books, and then I got 5 other books as well. So we'll just start with those ones. We just briefly kind of just blast through those because I don't really have much to say, especially after the first one. But let's just get on with it. So yeah, like I said, this is the first one or whatever, and as you can see, they're giant. And apparently it was like a husband and wife team as well, David and Lee Eddings. This one is Belgarath the Sorcerer, which I believe is kind of like a prequel to the first 5-book series that he wrote, the Beleriad, which, like I said, I think it was 5, and he has like 2 prequel-ish books, and this one is one of those ones. And as you can see, it's a giant book for a prequel. Let's see, and then the next, like I said, the Beleriad has 5 books. None of those were included in these 8 books. And then also, to go with the Beleriad, he wrote the Malborion, I believe it's called Malorion. And here is book 1 and book 3 of the Malorion, which is another 5-book series, which is a sequel to the first 5-book series. And like I said, that first book of the first series was so bland, like it wasn't even funny. So maybe it picks up as things go on. It's gonna be a long time before I ever get to these, if I do. And we have, let's see, Guardians of the West. It's book 1, and then book 2 is the Demon Lord of Karanda. Yeah, I might as well just find out what book 2 is called, because that's almost gonna bother me. We got book 2 is the King of Murgos. But yeah, so there's those as well. And then he also had, I believe he's passed away now, 2 more, or another kind of universe that's, I think, not related to that one, and it's 2 trilogies, so the first 3 books and then the second 3 books. I'm missing 1 of the 3, however, as strange as that is, I found the one I'm missing at another, not a library sale, but it's a really cheap sale place. I think it was $2. I was I might as well just pick it up to complete the trilogy. But these ones looked really cool, and don't know why I can't figure it out. This trilogy is called the Elenium, and the first book is the Diamond Throne, and the second book is the Ruby Knight. And the Ruby Knight is partly why I picked up all these David Eddings books in the first place. It's just so crazy looking. That's just a really cool cover. I think I have no idea what that is supposed to be, this lizard humanoid-ish dinosaur thing. Just really cool looking. And the third book is the Sapphire Rose, which, like I said, I have found since picking these ones up. So I do have this trilogy, so I might just skip the first, that first 5-book series, or the rest of it. The next 4 books, plus the second 5-book series that kind of goes with that one. Just skip over to this series, just because that one, like I said, that is the one that piqued my interest, and I thought it was so cool. I would not have pictured that like boring milquetoast first book from a cover like that. So hopefully maybe his later stuff is just like way cooler or more exciting. I don't know, something like that. And then to go with the Elenium, we have the trilogy called the Temui. Don't know anything about this one either, but we got Domes of Fire, The Hidden City. As you can see, oh, I guess that's the third book. The Shining Ones and The Hidden City. Like I said, these covers looked a lot cooler too. Just like more kind of going on and stuff. So I'm hoping these ones are definitely more exciting, especially like that lizard dude thing kind of going on. I don't know, that one just looked really cool, and that's why I picked them up in the first place. So yeah, if you guys have ever read any David Eddings books, any of you, just leave some comments down below what you thought about them, and please tell me that like the kind of second universe is like more exciting or cooler, or you know the books kind of pick up after the first one or something. Oh my goodness! All right, and then let's see, I got 5 more books, and I got 5 kind of non-fiction-ish books. Some really good. I've already read 2 of these 5 actually, but let's start with The Black Death by Johannes Noel. Don't know anything about it except it's a book on the Black Death, obviously. My last one that let's see, there's several books on the Black Death. I've read one by Norman Cantor, and apparently that was just like the biggest flop ever for him, since he was like a pretty well-known, popular medieval historian. And I really couldn't, like, I thought there were so many problems with that one. But I guess it was like kind of published, like kind of rushed posthumously, like right after he died, and you know, it probably wasn't like up to his standards or something. So, but anyways, this is another book on the Black Death, and I largely picked this one up because it's small, but also like the font and stuff, and like just the typeface and the way the whole like cover is like set up and everything and designed. I just thought it was just really odd. It's almost got like kind of like a vintage like, newspapery feel to it or something. Not really sure, but I just thought it was really cool to kind of go with like my pulp, like mass market paperbacks and stuff. I thought it was really cool. Alright, next up we have The Bronze Age in Europe. This one is by... who is this by? This might not be by like a... I think it's just like a group. Yeah, because there's not even like a copyright page, which is really weird. Oh yes, no, there's not. By Jean-Pierre Moen and Christian Elure. So I think it's like translated from the French or something, if I had to guess. But anyways, I just picked up because it's just like a little book on the Bronze Age. I've been trying to read more history, been kind of slacking off on it in like kind of lieu of science and fantasy. I know I still read like a ton of history, but just like not as much as I feel like I should. And Bronze Age, like actual ancient history, you know, like pre-Greek and pre-Roman, like classical history. I've been really slacking off. I think I've only read like 1 book on like kind of like the Bronze Age or earlier so far this year. So, you know, figure pick up one of these like little ones, look at some really cool artifacts and stuff, plus learn about some real ancient history. Right, now for the 2 that I have read, we have Bosworth 1485, The Battle That Transformed England by Michael Jones. I did finish this one already as a nice medieval book. This is definitely really interesting. It does give a good perspective of Richard III. Do I want to talk about it a lot in this one or in the wrap-up that I'm going to have to film in like a week? Probably just do a little blurb here. He does do a good job kind of describing Richard III as not kind of the Shakespearean Richard III that everyone has in their head, of him just being like this like terrible, inept, you know, broken ruler with like deformities and stuff. He did probably have like one shoulder a little bit higher than the other, but you know, that wasn't like a big deal. But half the book deals sort of with the backdrop and kind of the psychology of, maybe not the psychology is not the right word. I think like in one of the other subtitles it was called like the psychology of a battle. I think that's why I got like psychology stuck in my head. About half of it, like I said, is kind of more like setting the stage and the backdrop of kind of how, the landscape that Bosworth took place in. Not, well, actually, yeah, literally the landscape. But also I meant more like kind of, you know, the context of like kind of European warfare and, you know, politics and stuff, what was kind of going on at the time. And then the other roughly third to a half is dealing with the Battle of Bosworth itself and like the new research, the new archaeology, everything like that, and the author's like own opinions on like kind of what occurred and how it went down and everything. So I thought it was pretty cool. It's kind of like, instead of like a biography, it's like a biography of a battle, which is kind of an interesting different sort of thing. All right, and then another one I really enjoyed was Oarfish, The Future of the Last Wild Food by Paul Greenberg. And this is dealing with salmon, cod, sea bass, and tuna, right? Yes, tuna. Don't know why I was like drawing a blank there because I went out of order and I don't think the book was going. I was just completely drawing a blank. This is really good. Dealing with just these four fish as they're kind of the most more widely consumed and kind of dominant economically, at least kind of on a global scale, and they're kind of good case studies on good and bad fishing practices, especially farm fishing, like just like kind of mass produce fish, obviously for consumption by the human population around the world and everything. But yeah, he does deal a lot with sort of conservationism, environmentalism, what the options kind of are, what historically has happened, what is happening now, what can be done about it and everything. I do like how he does admit sometimes there doesn't seem to be a good solution. He does kind of have inputs on, what he thinks probably should be going on and everything. And there was some really cool stuff, kind of not local, super local to me, but there was a lot kind of, or maybe not a lot, but dealing sort of with the cod fisheries around New England and stuff was kind of interesting to learn about. And also kind of Maine lobster fishing was kind of a good case study and counterpoint to some of the like cod fishing and everything, which is, like I said, it's not like local to me because I'm kind of like up in the sticks of Maine, not like down, I'm not a down easter or anything on the coast, but still it's kind of interesting to learn about, obviously, because like, I learned about a lot about lobster just naturally, just by like living in Maine for whatever reason. So I thought that was kind of neat. But like I said, it's interesting seeing where we could be going with fish and kind of mass producing fish and what we're doing wrong and really kind of the why it's happening, I guess, in a few small ways. But for example, like a lot of the tuna consumption in Japan, which is kind of destroying like the tuna, not the tuna market, like the tuna population in the oceans and stuff. A lot of people defend that and saying it's like, it's a cultural heritage type thing. It's always been done and everything, and it really hasn't. It's only been done for about 100 years, if that, or so. So it's really not like that long standing of sort of a thing. So it's just kind of interesting looking at different things like that, and how there's different fish that could probably take the place of some of these more widely eaten fish, but people just don't, because we don't like recognize the names. I don't know why I did air quotes over that, but we don't like, we're not familiar with it. So it's just strange and exotic when it's really just like pretty much the same thing, but it's more economically feasible and like better for the economy and the environment and everything. But anyway, so like I said, Oarfish was really good. I do think it's a little, maybe not a little dated, but I think it's like from 2010, I want to say. So it'd be interesting to see, 2010. So it'd be interesting to see like an update like next year, see like kind of if any of these like policies have actually been implemented and stuff. Probably have to do the research on my own. But anyways, there's Oarfish by Paul Greenberg. Let's see, and lastly, this one is really interesting, is Lancelot and the Lord of the Distant Isles, or the Book of Galahad Retold. It's by Patricia Terry and Samuel N. Rosenberg. Wood gravings by Judith Jadinger. And pretty much anything with woodcuts I have to take. Tim was with me when I found this book, and I'm like, hey, look, an Arthurian something. And he was like, yeah, you definitely gotta pick that up. But there's a woodcut on the cover there. There's another woodcut there, but just look really cool. I'm thinking about getting into like kind of all the Arthurian stuff maybe, now that I finished T.H. White's Once and Future King. I do have to read the Book of Merlin at some point, but I've read the first, the original 4 books that was part of the Once and Future King. So kind of really, like, vaguely kind of want to jump down that rabbit hole. Like, Tim is like super into like all that Arthurian lore and stuff, but I'm not sure if I want to like I don't know, I got so many different things I like to read already. It's gonna be hard to like throw in like a kind of another just a whole nother like subgenre of fantasy, or I don't even know what you call like historical fiction. I'm not sure really what you'd really classify a lot of the Arthurian stuff as. But anyways, this one just like looked really cool as kind of an Arthurian tale. It didn't look like I said, I went through it a little bit, and there are several woodcuts through it. I don't know, I love woodcuts, like pretty much, like, you know, a lot of like old history books from like the 1800s and stuff have woodcuts like kind of all through them, and I just really enjoy them. I think it's just a really cool, underappreciated art style that just like looks pretty awesome, and that cover, like I said, it was just really, really cool. So when I'm in the next mood of kind of reading some sort of Arthurian retelling or some kind of Arthurian Camelot tale, I got one ready to go. So there you guys have it. That's what all the books I picked up in the month of July. Now a lot of them were that same fantasy author Eddings, kind of at the beginning, but you know, it was just like a chance. I didn't know anything about it. I don't even think I couldn't get like cell service or Wi-Fi like where I was. So I was just like, I'll just take the chance and spend $10 and get 8 giant fantasy books. And like I said, the first one didn't pan out great, but some of these other nonfiction ones I've already read were pretty good. So overall, still think I've made out with a pretty good month there. Tell me what you guys think about any of these books or the authors or the titles. If you've, especially the Eddings ones, if you've read them, let me know. Please let me know if this is just like kind of, I should just cut my losses right now and get, kind of get rid of them quietly, I guess. But if you can remember, tell me what your favorite book that you picked up in July was. If you can remember, I'm always glad to see and read about new titles, like what you guys are reading. Just if you like the video, remember to comment, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Check out Twitter, Instagram, everything like that. And always remember, whatever you read, why am I doing so terribly at these ending transitions? Whether or not July was a good month for you next. See, that doesn't make any sense either now that it's like halfway through October. Anyways, the point is, read victoriously.